What's going on, everybody? We are back. Episode 78 of the Dive Bar. We might be 0-3, but we are optimistic about the upcoming schedule, okay? We have some awesome guests here today. OJ McDuffie, Seth Levit of the Fish Tank, some legends rolling through both in media and the Miami Dolphins. We're going to talk about how Miami got here and how we get ourselves out of this hole, have some fun, chat, make it happen. Bobby, roll that tape.
I'm putting the helmet on as always.
The opportunity is right now.
Terrific defensive play. Intercepted. Tagovailoa off the block. Tua on the move. Going deep. Speed race. He's got Hill. He's got Hill. The Dolphins have recaptured the lead.
In the presence of greatness, boys.
Ooh,
That's how I feel every day when I go to work.
absolutely.
Big Seth in the building.
Welcome, guys.
Seth, OJ, my boys, how we feeling, man?
We're here. We're ready for the party. This is great, man. This is a long time overdue. I wish circumstances were a little bit better for our Dolphins, but, you know, that doesn't stop what we've got to get going on. So, yeah, man, excited to be here.
Yeah, we're still bitter, man. You know, man, come on, man. Seth's always so damn nice about stuff, man. We're feeling all right. How about that? We're feeling all right. You know what I mean? It sucks to go from a Thursday to a Monday game because you got so much time to, you know, to mill around and be upset and sad about things. But hey, we are pumped to be here, though. I promise you that.
Yeah, we were just chopping it up backstage, and boys, you guys basically paved the way for us. Like you started like what we kind of picked up and started the run with. I just kind of wanted to get into that right away, man. Like, how did you guys start your podcast together? Like, what's the story there for anybody who really doesn't know?
Yeah, it's nice of you to say, man. It's cool for us to hear things like that.
Man. Thank you.
Yeah, we've got a lot of respect for what you guys are doing. I think you guys kind of jumped in and really disturbed the space in a cool way. You know, you're a little rowdy, but never disrespectful to folks. And I think you're doing some really cool stuff, man. So it's the fact that OJ and I played any role in what you guys have put together is very cool to hear that. The story is it's wild too, because we're I am an older guy. Juice is forever young. But, you know, podcasting, you know, that was something that came about that I really wasn't paying attention to. I didn't think I could consume any more content. But a guy by the name of Ethan Skolnick, who was a beat writer when Juice played, when I was a PR guy for the team, and Ethan was a really good friend of mine. And I reached out to Ethan. I hadn't talked to him in a while. He had moved on from Dolphins to Miami Heat and then kind of fell off a little bit. And I was just checking in on him. And he said, yeah, I actually want to talk to you. I'm starting this podcast network. I'm like, why the fuck is everyone talking about a podcast? Like, I can't, do people listen to those things? And then he started telling me what he was doing. And I thought what was most interesting was that he was pulling in folks like yourself. He was pulling in all these fan content creators. And I didn't realize the quality that was out there from fans who were telling the story from their own narrative, telling the story the way they wanted to tell it. And he was pulling on all these shows. And I was like, well, shoot, you got room for a washed up old PR guy who happens to work for a Dolphins icon. And here we are. You know, OJ was the obvious co-host. There was just nobody else that would have made sense. And what was great was that he was down. He was down to do it. And next thing you know, we were taking photos at the bottom of your pool, Juice, and underwater photos and getting this thing started. And that was 2018, which is hard to believe because it kind of feels like a lifetime ago.
I got questions about the photo shoot. Actually, I was looking at it because I made several graphics today using it. That was real mics and headphones. Like, y'all threw them away afterwards, or what's the deal there?
Yeah.
That's incredible. Y'all like the bottom of the pool. You got microphones and stuff in your hand. I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess you just got to throw them away afterwards. That's pretty awesome, dude. And y'all
we didn't have any real good equipment at that point yet.
Right.
Anyway, it's like from a karaoke machine here,
Right.
a rock band stuff. It wasn't really like we went all out and spent a lot of money on some stuff that we were going to just get rid of.
Some headphones, Juice, that your son didn't want to use anymore on Fortnite or whatever. Like we got all the hand-me-downs.
Video games. So yeah, we were good to go there.
But I did break out the Zubaz. I did have those at the bottom of the drawer, so I broke out the Zubaz for that one.
Which is very important. Most iconic piece. Like that's the most iconic piece of Dolphin memorabilia there is. Like,
how can you possibly start a podcast without a pair of Zubaz? I just don't think it's possible.
I feel like now we can address the elephant in the room, which is 0-3.
Yeah.
I was trying to veer away from talking about it.
Heck no, we got to get into it because now, Juice, you put out it was you put out a little video that I think you said I'm pissed. I'm not going to be on tonight. I'm pissed. I want to get your take, just as a former player and seeing your team, the Miami Dolphins, as well. Just go down this path of 0-3. We everyone was kind of wary on expectations this year. We weren't sure what to expect. We had left a lot on the table in 2024. We thought half the fan base saying this is gonna be great, half the fan base saying like this is gonna be a rebuild year. What are your thoughts at 0-3 right now?
Yeah, I'm upset, man. As alumni, it's tough on us because we do love this team. We've got over 100 guys down here that used to play for the Dolphins. And we spent a lot of time together. We have a suite at the stadium that Mr. Ross is amazingly gives us every single game. So every home game, there's you'll find 30 alumni plus a guest, or if somebody comes by themselves, you'll see 40, 45 alumni in there, and it drives us crazy, man. We've only had one home game so far, thank goodness. But that one home game against New England was tough. It was tough, man. So yeah, man, I played pissed off. You know what I mean? But I take the team playing like really bad, man. And it's the thing about it is nobody expected what happened in Indianapolis week 1. Nobody. I don't care if they weren't projecting us to be a good team or not. Nobody expected what happened in week 1 in Indianapolis, and that right there kind of puts me over the edge with this team. Because I was out to training camp a lot, saw a lot of really good things. You heard all the things that happened in the in the joint practices, how they got bullied in Chicago, but they came back a little bit. Got bullied in Detroit, came back. And then we saw the Jacksonville. It wasn't bad. So I said, all right, we're gonna be all right. But what we saw in Indianapolis was not Miami Dolphins football. And then, like I said, or maybe it was, and at that point it was. And so, losing that game the way we did, I said, all right, New England's not that good, have a chance at least to show up. They showed up, couldn't find a way to win. And of course, Buffalo, they played better than they played in the other first 2 games and still took an L. So 0-3 is not as bad as it was being 0-1, but because the way they played to get to 0-1, I'm just I and Seth knows this too. I stopped doing post game because I almost get fired every post game after games like something else. I can't let it go that fast. The game ends and 4 minutes later we're on the mic. We're in the studio or whatever it might be. And
you don't even have that 10-minute locker room cool down period.
That's rough.
I'm still hot, So I'm just it's frustrating to say the least. It's frustrating what's going on with the team. And even if we go back to the Buffalo game, even though we weren't supposed to win that game or come close, we had a chance still, and that makes me even more frustrated. When you're in a game, you got a chance, and we do over and over and over and over again. It's find a way to lose football games.
And it's always the mental mistakes, man. It's crazy because everybody will always ask you, "Hey, would you rather lose by a lot, or would you rather lose a nail biter? How about both? How about both 3 games in?"
Yeah, no good way to lose, right?
What's tough, man? What's toughest about that Buffalo game too is you go back the last 3 years. You got Buffalo 2023 week 18, you got Buffalo 2024, and you got this year, and it was defense gave up 14 points, throw game losing pick. You're like, oh, okay, we were right there. 2024, get the stop, ready for a punt. Jordan Poyer comes up with that personal foul, that helmet to helmet, ends the game basically right there. Then they kick a 60-yard field goal into the wind at Ralph. Well, I still call it Ralph Wilson, but whatever. And 2025, the guy who Zach Sealer's, I don't think he's made a mistake in 7 years, makes that error on special teams. And you're just like, every single year, it's just that black cloud just kind of follows you around. And I think that's the most frustrating part, is because we're right there. Like, you're getting the ball back. We had momentum. I'm pretty sure we score on that drive, getting the ball back. They're punting from close to their end zone. So tough.
But, and that's the thing about it, though, too. We might get the ball back, but how much confidence do we have getting the ball back that we're going to get it done?
I think they would have.
Momentum is one hell of a drug.
Yeah. What have we gotten it done is my question.
You make a great point.
You can't say we're going to get it done. Like, even the Buffalo game, that Seth and Travis were sitting there debating on, when we score here, are we going for 2? That was our debate. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Like, we're on the road against Buffalo. We go down there, we score. Are we going for the tie to go into overtime, or are we going to go for 2? Again, team doesn't get it done, and that's why the confidence. I use this all the time, and all I can use is when I talk about how old I am. But when we got in the huddle with Marino in situations like that, we knew we were scoring. They got to have that same confidence, but it has to happen first before they can gain that confidence.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's tough, man, because it's still always a nail biter. It's always like, I just don't feel it like sometimes. Now look at some of these other teams. You look, if Josh Allen had the ball last, you got a good feeling they're going to get a win. You see, back in the day, Peyton Manning's, Tom Brady's, all these other guys, they got the ball last. You just have to you got to get it done multiple times for everybody, us as fans, teammates, everybody else, to believe that you're going to go down there and get it done. And that just hasn't been happening for us.
Did do it once last year versus the Jets. So that
one
was
time. All right, here you go. You're going to give me one
time in bed.
How many games you played last year?
And Jonnu Smith is gone. So Jonnu Smith isn't there anymore. He had no catches all game and then has 4 catches on the final drive.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what's really disappointing to me, fellas, is that I think this entire offseason, the will they, won't they, what will they look like, how many wins are you predicting, it was all predicated on Tua's health, right? If we could have Tua an entire season, we could see this being a 10 to 12 win team, even though there's some deficiencies. That's everything that we talked about. Well, we've had Tua for 3 games, and unfortunately, this is not the Tua that everybody who has bought into. And that's what's been disappointing. You have your franchise quarterback. He is healthy. He played pretty darn good football against the Patriots until he didn't. And then while his numbers weren't off the charts against the Bills, he was playing, he was managing the game, right? You were in position. The Zach Sealer thing, I don't disagree with you, Ghost. Like, that was definitely deflating for us, but it didn't need to be for them. They were still in a position to go and tie and or win that game, and you never got to see what that would look like. And so that's what's been most disappointing, because we're 0-3 with Tua. What happens if he does go down? Then what are you left with? So we just need more out of that position. I think he knows it, and I'm sure everybody inside the building knows it. He's just not playing like a guy who is supposed to be the franchise quarterback and the captain of your football team. Doesn't mean that he can't get there, but he is certainly not playing that way right now, and that is frustrating.
Yeah, I think to add on to that too, like, a lot of the variables that we thought we wasn't going to have to worry about, we're worrying about, like the front 7.
Another great point.
They haven't got off the bus yet this year.
What the hell?
It's insane. Bradley Chubb is our best defensive player this year. Like,
I was hanging my hat on that front 7 all offseason. Right. I'm like, this is a top 5 front 7, top 5. I'm like, they're going to push the top 3. Man.
I think they were too, right? You weren't the only one doing it. I think they were. You could even see it the way the secondary was or was not addressed, is that there was a strong belief, and I think a fair belief, that they would be able to pressure quarterbacks enough and they would make things so difficult on opposing offenses up front that would make those guys better on the back end. And it just hasn't happened. Those two things have not connected.
I mean, one of the positives from that game was, I really feel like McDaniel called a hell of a game.
He did.
I mean, I really like the way he called that game. I like that we got Ollie involved, and I'm hoping that we could really get that 1-2 punch like the Lions last night with Montgomery and Gibbs. Like, man, that 1-2 punch is scary.
Yeah.
Montgomery
Yeah.
had a
Yeah, I
game.
agree. I totally agree with that because we got to be diverse with our offense. Not only Ollie, Malik Washington get more involved.
Yeah.
You know, they've got to find Jalen Waddle more. They've got to find, you know, and Tyreek finally had an opportunity. You know, we have no tight end presence right now, which is a problem. Where every other team in the league has a tight end presence out there. But Ollie Gordon has to be involved. Either he has a series or, you know, even if we get up, I have the confidence that we can run 4-minute offense with Ollie Gordon. They know we're going to run the football, and we'll still be able to, you know, achieve what we want to achieve, which is run the clock, gain a couple first downs, and get the hell out of town or go home that night from home. You know, so I like that. You're right about that. You know, you're right about the fact that I think Mike called his best game in a long time. And I think he definitely put us in position to win that football game.
And the defense stepped up.
Yeah.
I mean, they really did.
They played better.
Second half was
They
better.
gave up 31 points and 360 yards, but that's not bad against a Buffalo team at home.
I mean, dude, this Buffalo team's a wagon. I even hate admitting it, but good Lord, they're good.
Yeah.
Dude, every year Joe Robbie gets on this podcast and goes, "This is the year the Bills fall off. They've lost too much. They can't keep getting away with this."
No, not with that guy under center, man.
Yeah.
He's the truth. But also, look, like what was that stat, Juice, that Travis was telling us about their offensive line and how many games those guys have played together? I mean, that's insane. You know, they're healthy up front. They're a physical football team. And you know, that's the personality. That's the culture. We heard that word a lot this offseason here, culture. But that's the culture that team has established. They're physical. They'll punch you in the mouth. I mean, they play a certain brand of football, and they're doing it really well.
Yeah, and they got a running back in James Cook that runs way bigger than he is.
Yes, he
You
does.
got a guy that, you know, can go outside, catch the ball in the backfield, and run between the tackles harder than some big dudes do, man. And they found a guy right there that can do all that. I see Achane putting his foot in the ground a little bit more than he did before. You know, a lot of these guys come out of college, man. They think they're still in college or high school. They can beat dudes to the edge or whatever. Sometimes you got to get those hard 3 or 4, and the next thing might pop for you. So, you know, putting your head down and getting north and south to keep us in manageable down and distances is critical. You know, it opens the playbook up so much when guys are, you know, going sideways and, you know, getting 1 yard, maybe 2 yards, or losing 1 or getting 0. Now we're in a tough position. So I think they'll figure it out, I hope. But I love how Ollie Gordon plays like James Cook does, even though he's, you know, bigger than, but just that north-south. Making one guy in the hole miss or running through an arm tackle. Those have to happen in order for teams to be successful.
Reminds me of a guy named Bernie Parmalee.
Oh, Big Bird.
DP.
Yeah. Well,
I had to
we
bring
call
it
him Velcro man, though, Joe. Right? We call him Velcro man sometimes because sometimes he ran up our backs. Like, dude, bro, we're the same team. You know, the other color is the one you want to run into, not your teammates, man.
Oh my God.
And that's got to be so annoying for offensive linemen. You're over here just in the trenches. All of a sudden, Bernie's just running through you.
Bernie, yep, hell yeah, man.
Too funny.
Let me ask, though. That pass to Tyreek, obviously tough ball to grab. But as a receiver, and I know your answer, but I want to hear it from the Juice's mouth himself. You put your hands on that ball, what are you supposed to do?
Well, you got to grab it, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no matter what. I mean, that's especially nowadays, man. I mean, it's so safe to catch the ball and catch high. It's safe as hell, man. Just go get it. You know what I mean? And no matter what, like when I play, no matter what, you're gonna get popped. It's not the same way anymore nowadays. You know, they let you come down, make 2 football moves and whatever before they even try to tackle you anymore these days. You know, but you know, you gotta bail your quarterback out a lot of times. You gotta take care of your quarterback a lot of times. You know, and you know, I think sometimes it looks like some guys turn passes down, man. You can't turn anything down. You get an opportunity to make a grab, go out there and make a grab. What bothers me most, though, is you see all these other guys making so many plays. You know, you watch the league, man. Yeah, that's got to be one of the worst things, too, with our team playing a Thursday and a Monday, is being there all day Sunday, watching all these other teams going out there making play after play after play. Wide receivers, it's like, damn, man, why did I pay for this in the NFL Sunday ticket, man? Like, it's just making me making me mad, man, watching all these guys going out there making all these plays. And I watched like every single game, almost every snap, like, damn. I mean, I remember the good old days like this for us, man. But, wide receivers have to make these guys and these quarterbacks look good half the time. And half the time, the quarterbacks do the opposite.
This is a perfect time I wanted to ask you a specific question here, Juice. Okay, and I know you guys are very active on Twitter, both of you.
Jesus Christ!
All
right, go ahead, Joe Robbie.
This is a very specific question. It's you both are very active on Twitter with the fan base and all that, and it seems like every game so far, every 3 weeks now, when Tua throws an interception, there's immediately like 6 to 7 breakdowns on why it was the receiver's fault. So as a former professional wide receiver, seeing all these wide receivers take the heat for these interceptions, which I mean, it could be, but I want to get your take on the wide receivers kind of like shouldering the blame from these analysts, from these former quarterbacks, podcasts, whoever it may be, putting out all these films that, it's not the quarterback's fault.
Oh, you want me? Okay, yeah.
I got to hear your take on it.
Yeah, I think the New England interception, I put most of that on Tyreek.
There we go.
I think Tyreek, you cannot. You got a quarterback that's on a partial scramble. Tyreek can't go upfield. He cannot go upfield right there. Tua's especially in the flash across, and then he goes upfield and he gets undercut. It could be knocked down, maybe a PBU instead of an interception at that point, because obviously if the DB made the interception, that's one thing. Now in the Buffalo game, I think Tua made the wrong read. Kurt Warner says one thing, but I think Tua made the wrong read right there. And it's the same play that they ran with Seth. What was it? A couple weeks earlier, same New England game. They ran
in a different formation.
Yeah, same formation. And obviously when you're in that situation, it's probably some type of play you run often. I think Tua made the wrong read right there, and I wouldn't say Tua was staring the receiver down. He was staring the area down. Staring the area down just as bad because you're still going to draw that Mike linebacker over that area. So I thought he should have played off the outside defender, whether it's an outside linebacker or a safety, and then make the play, make the throw. But here's the thing about it. Tua's not holding on to the rock to make that decision. He's already got his mind made up what he's going to do right there. And that it might be our bigger problem with Tua, that they're not going to let Tua get hit. It's going to be one hitch, two-step, 3-step, and it's going to be gone. And so when you make your mind up like that and you're staring at it, then that becomes a problem. So, yeah, New England game, I put that on Tyreek. Buffalo game, I got to put that one on Tua.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, too. I think that I don't think he ever seen the linebacker, even checked on the linebacker. I think he looked at that outside guy and tried to move him with his eyes, never came back to check on the middle guy. He was always going to go there. And when he threw it, it was too late. Hell of a play by Bernard, too.
And what's interesting is they did run that same exact concept earlier in the Buffalo game, right? Not even the New England game. And Tua hit the flat route, but Bernard was jumping that spot route there too. So, I mean, you got to see that on the iPad too. I feel like that's what they're, maybe they're looking at that, maybe they're not looking at it, but
we got to get rid of that.
Early in the game, he was jumping the spot route, but Tua threw it to the flat. That was his read.
But let me ask you guys, when do we stop protecting Tua and let him play quarterback? Because if this is how it's going to be for 17 games, are we doing the right thing? I know this is a hard question, but you got to unleash the beast, brother. He's going to get hit. It's the NFL. It's time to move around.
Well, it's a fair question, because if you're protecting him to be 0-3, then what's the point, right? But at
That's
the
what
same,
I mean.
yeah, and I don't think, at least my understanding and everything that I've watched, when they talk about protecting himself and being responsible and understanding his responsibility to the team, I think that's like not trying to lower your shoulder and go head on with a linebacker or a defensive back, when you're running with the ball. And I know you're trying to get that first down and you want to convert, but like maybe live to fight another day there. Maybe if you do throw a pick, don't throw your head in low at the guy's knees, to make the tackle. I think that's what they're talking about in terms of being smart. I never interpreted that as anytime there's any pressure, start running the other direction. Like, I don't think that's right. I don't think that was the coaching point. So the question is he being coached to do that, or is that kind of where Tua has taken it? And now that internal clock in his head is
Yeah.
operating faster than it ever has. And I don't know. Only Tua knows and the folks that are working with him, but it just doesn't look like anything we've ever seen on film with him. And I know Tua is as polarizing as any player I can really think of, Juice, since I've been following this team. He's so darn polarizing. And there's people, I'm even looking at your chat, which is a blast. I'm looking at your chat and people are like, what about the damn defense? Why are you getting on Tua again? And so, there's going to be people that Tua can do no wrong. And then there's going to be people that Tua could throw 500 yards and 6 touchdowns, and they are going to tell us how he's trash. And I understand that, but this just is not the guy that we're used to seeing. I think, and they can't win that way. You can't win in this league that way. You need a quarterback that's going to be able to rise up when in moments like that. And that's the difference. This could be a 2-1 football team and 2-0 in the AFC East. And really people would be shocked because of how poorly they played in that Colts game. They legitimately could and perhaps should be 2-1 right now.
Yeah.
And instead they're talking about how disastrous everything is.
Seth, don't get me going, brother. Don't get me going, because once I get going, I get going.
Yeah, Seth,
Man, you want to get going? We're in your house tonight.
And the road to 14-3 starts right now, brother. Don't play with me.
Seth, I agree with you on some of the things they're not teaching Tua to do, but also you can tell by play call as what they're doing to Tua as well. Everything is so quick. You know what I mean? Everything is so quick. And I get there's a couple of reasons he's going to be quick. Protecting Tua, so he gets the ball out quick, but also the offensive line has giving up some immediate pressures at times too.
Immediate
pressures, But I'm going to tell you this too. There's some offensive lines that are giving up immediate pressure and quarterbacks sitting there and they take it.
Yeah.
They rip it. They know it's coming. I played with a guy that knew there were some free blitzers coming, told us there's going to be a free blitzer, and he let it rip. Obviously, he's different stature, hasn't gone through what Tua's going through. But at the same time, though, sometimes you gotta take one of them out, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And let it rip. Tyreek and Waddle, they barely get down the field sometime when the ball's going. I used to get so mad about that sometimes when Danny got hit a couple of times. He let the ball rip, and I'm running a 12-yard route, and the ball's going already. Not a hot route. Now, I get it on hot routes and things like that. But when that heat was coming, sometimes these quarterbacks, they don't want to do it. But sometimes you got to sit in there, man, and give guys a chance, to get downfield, because I have a hard time imagining that most of the guys that these guys are going against can guard them in a one-on-one situation beyond 10 yards. I do. I have a hard time believing that, because I know that Waddle and Tyreek are great route runners, but do they get a chance to run those routes and get the ball delivered to them, without the ball being gone already out of Tua's hands?
Yeah, that offensive line is tough. And I think I've seen a couple takes of it on the timeline, is that Tua's kind of getting a little Derek Card, where David Card, my bad, where, he's got all the talent in the world, but that offensive line just keeps failing him, getting skittish. There were a couple plays where he had a great pocket, just bailed on the pocket. And we've never, Tua, 2020, 2021, 22, 23, pocket presence was like top of the league, top 3. That guy would stand in there, he'd find the lanes. He obviously not the most athletic guy, but he'd be, neither was Marino, but he'd never get sacked. But do you kind of see that from this offensive line, where he's getting a little skittish now just from, 5 years of this?
Yeah, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long, man, to be a little gun shy in there. Especially, like I said, the fact that his history makes him a little gun shy as well. Mm-hmm. And nobody wants to get hit, man. Anybody that says they love getting hit, enjoy that stuff, man, they're full of it, bro. And especially when it's been compromising to your health, like it has for him. Offensive line, what they have to do, how you protect him is you scheme it better. You have to scheme it better. If I have to have 5 tight ends in there and 1 wide receiver on a pattern all by himself to give him max protection, obviously I'm joking about that, but you got to find a way to protect him, in the way that we have it. Here's another thing. We don't see boots. We don't see waggles. We don't see the move in the pocket. We don't see any of that stuff, man. Everything is like right there. Those are ways of protecting too. I don't know about a boot. You don't want him out there and getting hit by somebody coming off the edge. But at the same time, though, move that pocket a little bit. Give them a little time to get some guys a chance to get down the field. Mike McDaniel, super creative, man. Be more creative with what you're doing instead of seeing what we're doing, seeing over and over and over again, man. That's all I can say to try to, give them a little more confidence. I get tired of the left-handed quarterback rolling right. I know you have to every once in a while, but it seems like we go opposite his arm more than anybody, too, if it happens. And like you said, though, perfect pocket sometimes. Tua's not willing to step up in that thing at times. And that's when he starts going backwards, like Big Seth was talking about, instead of stepping up in there like quarterbacks are supposed to. I was encouraged that he did take off and go get us 7 or 8 yards a couple of times. Yeah. And smart enough, like Seth was talking about, to get down, and do those things. Teams are going to play from 2-man. Anytime they turn their back, you see all these other quarterbacks take off. Anytime I see man, they're not going to be spying to it. He's got to be conditioned to find a little gap. And if they start turning their backs and playing some 2-man, get the hell out of there, man, and get us some yards, man. It's going to happen for us.
Yeah, I thought he actually showed some great athleticism in that second half. He started getting comfortable a little bit. He made some plays with his feet. I think it's just the clock is messing him up. He wants to run backwards. He's just doing a lot. Sometimes it looked beautiful. Sometimes he was that one screenshot is so bad. That one screenshot when you're running north and your O-line's facing south and your center's like this.
Yeah.
It's just there's no way around that one. It's like, man, the pocket's beautiful. Aaron Brewer don't even have, he's filling out a survey. Like there's no rush coming, brother. Relax. But as you said, it don't take long. You get that internal clock has been in your head since you're 5 years old. Everybody knows 3 seconds and you better know where you're going to get out of there. So it's tough, but yeah, I thought we'd seen a little more of that, that wiggle. Unfortunately, there was some bad in there too, but it was really nice to see him get out there. He picked up 7 one time on like a 3rd and 7. A D lineman was chasing him on his ass. He got out of there and he slid. And I think that's what Seth was saying. I don't think we need to protect him in the sense that you can't drop back for 2 seconds, but slide, perfect play. You got out of there. You got your 7. You got down. Play ball. Let's go. Call the play.
I just love hearing that's what Seth was saying like 4 times in the last 2 guys we talked. So it makes me feel like
that
I have
affirmation.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I need it. I need it every now and then.
Oh, you guys have no idea. You see our text string. Seth loves that when Seth's right. I tried to tell y'all what we do on Wednesday nights.
I tried to tell y'all.
Every time somebody says something, he says, I tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell y'all. It's just like, that's his favorite word other than,
it has become
fascinating. Other than fascinating,
yeah. I knew it was coming. Hey, Juice, they said that the chat wants to know if you're drinking decaf.
Yes.
Okay. They were very concerned. Very concerned.
The chat is outrageous. I'm having more fun. I might just hang up and listen, as they say on Talk Radio.
No, that's
long time
one thing. That's one
caller.
thing. One thing about just our live shows is the chat just goes. They're having like 5 different conversations right now amongst themselves with just us. We're spectating them. Like they're not watching us.
It's outrageous.
Sometimes I don't think they realize that they're actually the main event. Like, or maybe they do.
They do now. Yeah. They definitely do now.
I think it's cool though. I think it's cool that your chat is part of your show, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
great.
It's your show, but man, it's great for them to be able to get in and interact in a live situation. Where else would they get the space to do so, man? And talk Dolphin football or talk Dolphin chat, whatever it is, man. That's really, really cool. They feel a part of the show, and that's always important.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That was literally the entire concept of our show. Like when we started this show, we wanted it like a voice for the fans with the fans. Like we don't want to be like, hey, this is my show. You can't talk. Like when the chat's talking to us, especially when it's just us boys, like we'll just talk to the chat the whole time and like what you guys think and really get them involved because like we're all in the same boat. We're all in the same ship. We're all going down together. Like it's and it's cool, especially because, and I'm sure you two know, most of our fan base is not even in Florida. So they have nobody to talk ball with.
Yeah.
And which is why social media is powerful and so cool for us because like Bobby's in Louisiana, Ghost is in Pennsylvania. Like these guys get to come down here once, twice a year. Ghost comes down for a lot of the home games. But like this is a way to bring people who are fans of the Miami Dolphins together. Yeah. And I think that's one of the coolest part about the podcast world.
And I'm gonna tell you what's really cool too is we are everywhere, man. We I used to love playing on the road, man, because our fans we're all over the place, man. And they're
we
dying
do
for
travel
us.
well.
Yeah, we travel well. We live in those areas, man. It's like we our fans are dying for success from this football team, man. I think that's the most, that's the toughest part. It's excruciating sometimes to, for us to get all pumped up. We wait longer months. We wait longer than anybody does in NFL because of our lack of playoff success or whatever it might be to get back out there. And we've got fans all over the place that still show up, man. And we love that. We love the hotel, when we were on the road. We love going out to warm-ups. And you see all that aqua and orange in Jet territory, in Jet country or Buffalo country or whatever it might be, or even on the West Coast, man. We've got the best fans, bro, and they're starving. We all starving. I'm one of those guys now. I'm one of those fans now.
Yeah, we're hungry.
Right now. We're hungry, man. You know what I mean? So what's the team? We just, give us a chance to eat, man. We just want to eat. That's it, man. We just want to eat.
I got a question for you guys. Since you're at the stadium every Sunday in Miami, as a guy that's been out of state his whole life, went to a couple venues, I realize how well the Dolphins travel. Like you said, it's actually insane. Like they really do take over stadiums. How aggravating is it that they don't take over their own stadium?
Bobby, you might have just struck a nerve with my co-host over here.
Hey, that's why we're talking. OJ's lived it. I want to hear it, baby.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man, it's absolutely frustrating, and I get it. I get it sometimes. I get it when you live in Buffalo, and people live in Buffalo and they want to get the hell out of that terrible town. And they want to come to South Florida and enjoy our weather. I get it when you live in some of these other raggedy ass cities, and you get a chance to play in Miami every once in a while. I totally get it, man. What I don't get is how many of our fans give up their damn tickets.
Right. Why are the tickets available?
And allow the infiltration that we get, man. I get so you don't go to the bathroom in the middle of a game and you're not looking at the stadium, at the field, and you hear a roar, and you don't know if it's for your team or the other damn team, man. Mm-hmm. That drives me crazy. A lot of New Englanders live here. Obviously, a lot of New Yorkers live here. And of course, a lot of, our division automatically has a lot of people that live down here naturally. But our fans have to be the ones that hold the road, hold the line and not give up their seats to these people that come and infiltrate. But you know what, though? I've also seen this. Let me tell you this.
All right.
Seen some wolves in sheep clothing before. I've seen some guys that come to Dolphin games when they're, and they're wearing Dolphin gear, and then all of a sudden the team comes in town and I see, oh, he's wearing the Patriots. He said, oh yeah, I'm from New England. I said, oh hell, I didn't know that, man. I would have never been cool with you if that was the case. You know what I mean? So we got some hidden ones in there too, bro.
You didn't have to call Ghost out like that, man.
Come on. Yeah. Okay. So I definitely do want to make a point though. Is I do have season tickets. I make the majority of games. I can't make all of them, like the Christmas games, Thanksgiving games. But shout out Big E. Obviously, we all know who Big E is. He started a group on Dolphins Twitter, and it's got maybe 200, 300 people in it, where you only sell your tickets to Dolphins fans. So shout out Big E, kind of taking the reins on that. So I'm part of that group. I've never sold my tickets to anybody that's not a Dolphins fan. So I agree with you, Juice. I think everyone should join that group or at least get on board with that. But Buffalo fans, they'll pay $600 a seat and $300 to come down. It's kind of tough, but yeah, we're trying to combat it a little bit for us.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. That's the thing too, man. It's pricey to be at those games. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you this though. Why would you say you buy season tickets and you're playing against Buffalo? That's a big time game, man.
Oh, I'm there.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about in general. What I mean? That's a big time game. Why would you want to watch it at home or just come and tailgate and watch it from your car? You want to be in the stadium. You want to be in that atmosphere, man. It's like no matter what, you already paid enough for these tickets, man. You might as well enjoy all the 9 games or 8 games we have this year. Of course, one of our home games goes to Madrid, but you want to enjoy all those, man. And I just don't get it sometimes, man. I mean, I get mad. Let me tell you, sometimes I get mad in our suite, our alumni suite, when somebody's wearing the opposite colors. Just know
kick out right away. Kick them out.
Gotta go. Let me play. Hey, Joe, let me play this though. One time I was sitting by a guy cheering for the other team, And I'm like, this ain't gonna work, but it had to work. You know why it had to work? It was Lawrence Taylor, and he was cheering for the Giants. And I wasn't gonna say a word to him, man. I was like, all right,
good,
man.
LG,
I was asking, you want a cocktail? You want something to eat? What can I do for you, Mr. Lawrence? Basically, you know what I mean?
That's funny.
I will say this though. When we're winning, nobody rallies around Miami like Miami fans when there's a winning team down here.
Yeah.
I get it, man. It's 25 years of misery. I get it. I mean, it sucks. But we start winning, you won't be seeing any other fans in that stands. I will say that.
I'm gonna tell you this right now, Joe. Like the way the Hurricanes are playing right now, you can't get a seat now for those games because they love winning football,
brother.
Imagine if we get to that point right there. You know what I mean? I mean, I went to the Notre Dame game. I went to the Florida game, and it was bananas in there, man. It was like, that's what this city's dying for. They love football. Yeah, Panthers have won a couple times. The Heat have won a few times. The Marlins have won a couple times. They want football to win down here. That's what it's all about down here in South Florida.
Thanks to you guys. You guys made this a football town.
Yeah, well, now there's some older dudes that did it. You know what I mean? Them 70s and 80s. Yeah. I got to the 90s, man. We didn't do – did I say shit? I already said it. We didn't do shit about this, man. You know what I mean? That we should have, because we had a really, really, really good teams, and we didn't accomplish anything we should have accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of heartbreaking, is that we still have to use the 72 year as our little trophy when we talking shit to these Bills fans and stuff. But y'all
better
boys
than no Super Bowls though.
Right. Well, we're 2-3 in Super Bowls. They're 0-4, so we'll take that to our grave with us.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when we was talking about doing this show, Seth had an awesome idea. Seth, I kind of want to let you lead into this one. I thought it was an awesome topic. When I told the boys, they were like, "Oh, that's incredible," because we never really think about having a deep conversation. Sometimes it goes there, but when we have guests, it's like, it's going to be awesome. We're going to talk Dolphins. We're going to talk about OJ's glory days, LT, but go ahead, Seth, lead us into this one. This is going to be a good conversation.
You're talking about guests. Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, Juice and I have been impressed with what you guys have done. And clearly one of the ways you guys made a lot of noise was you came out strong with this great guest list. And it was a lot of active players, and you leveraged your relationships and you did what you needed to do, and you got guys to come on the show. I think you got guys walking around the building in the dive bar hats. I mean, I think that's
love
really,
that one,
really
man.
cool what you guys have done there. And we're starting to see a lot of that. Marissa over at Dolphins Talk had a crazy offseason. I mean, every friggin' 2 days she had some NFL, some ESPN reporter or NFL Network reporter, and they had a couple current players. You guys continue to do it. And so for OJ and I, who built a show around guests, and fortunately between the two of us, we've got a few contacts in our phone, and guys have been great to have come on the show, and then working with the team, for a little while we had some current players, but we've cut our teeth in having guests. It was impressive to watch what you've done, but then I started to notice a shift, and especially being a former PR guy, when you are in the fan content creator space, you are not beholden to whatever the organizational goals are as it relates to which players are getting what visibility, right? Mm-hmm. And so if a coach doesn't feel a player is working hard enough in practice, or if a coach doesn't feel, and I know this from being on the PR side, if the organization feels a player is more concerned about his image or whatever it might be than the amount of time he's spending in the film room, you won't see that player get in front of the microphone as much in the building. You won't see that player talking to the beat guys as much, or whatever that might be. And those things are managed. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but those things are managed. The organization has its own goals, and credentialed media are subject to that availability, and they have to operate within certain rules if they want to continue to be credentialed media. For you all, it's the wild, wild west, right? And so for Juice and I, we were kind of somewhere in between. Like, we were working with the organization. We have relationships with the organization that are important to us, but we also are fan content creators in a way. And so it's just been an interesting dynamic to the point where I was reaching out to other PR guys with other teams and saying, is this an issue in your city? Like the Dolphins, I'm seeing how the Dolphins are handling it in real time. How's this being handled in your city? And it seems to be a challenge across probably multiple leagues, but certainly across the National Football League. So I'm just wondering for you all, when you guys are reaching out for guests, are you just, hey, you're just hustling? We're just trying to let's kill what we eat, or eat what we kill and see who we can get. Because you're not worried if you don't get invited to sit in the press box, right?
Right.
I think
We're not invited. Just to be clear, we're not invited in the press box.
Definitely not invited.
that might be some of the motivation though. You gotta get it out here. Like we said, we all live in different states. We're all like, that is our way to have firsthand experiences with players. And even you guys, this is awesome to us. I've watched hundreds of y'all's episodes. That's what I used to go to work every morning and listen to your episode. So that's kind of the motivation too. It's like anything is out there. You can reach out and touch it now. The day of social media is like anything is obtainable. And, it did help us that, we kind of had established followings on Twitter. A lot of players follow me, are familiar with our pages on Twitter. So when we do DM people, they've seen the face, they've seen the name, they've seen the guy gassing them up, showing them support. And I will say one of our biggest things when we started, people were like, how? Like no podcast fan driven has ever done something like this. It's like, look, we're not trying to be, you could call it a trailblaze thing, but like to us, it was more like we don't want to be the only one. So we wanted to open up that door. We wanted to kick it open. We didn't want it to be gatekept by the media. So we really went hard out the gate to prove that, hey, you put it in, you reach out, you do enough of the legwork, you can have players on. And now, like you said, look around. Everybody's jumped right in. They're reaching out to people. They're using any connection they got and running around, going in circles, trying to figure out how to get a player on. And now you're seeing players everywhere. And I will say this, but the other token is maybe something you hadn't thought about is the players enjoy it. I remember it was one of our first episodes, and not to get too messy, but they like the outlet because like you said, when they hear from a media guy, it's going to be, why did you miss this play? Why did you miss that read? It's going to be those things. When they come hang out with the boys at the dive bar, we're talking, who knows what we're talking. We talk about aliens. So that was one thing we got out the gate was they all loved it and kind of spread the word in the locker room that they were all like, you got to go hang out with these guys. It's like, it's just a different avenue. It's somewhere where they can be a human, hang out with the guys, talk some shit, and not feel like somebody's trying to like needle and probe them a little bit.
There's no gotcha.
So that kind of went our way too.
Yeah.
Well, we ran into the problem with, for one, we couldn't talk to current guys when we were with the team. Unless they handed them to us, you know what I mean? And we feel bad now, Seth, you can tell me if I'm wrong, about reaching out to guys, cold calling guys now that are on the team. We won't do that because we have such respect for, the PR department, the communications department for the Dolphins. So I don't have, that's Seth. I'll call somebody in a heartbeat. If I got somebody's number, I would do it. I've got some numbers, but I won't do it because that's not, how we want. So that's why we really have a hard time really getting guys that are on the roster now because we don't want to jump over that step or that, we're going through them to get them. But hell, at some point, I'm gonna tell Big Seth, either you do it, Seth, or I'm out.
Yeah. And he will, and I get it. So I mean, that's like there are certain protocols, and I'm held to certain standards and expectations, having been a former PR guy, understanding the role of the communications staff. And those things are important to me. We built those relationships up, and OJ and I have had this dynamic since 1996. There's been things that he's been heated, and I've had conversations, and he's let me know how he feels, and I tell him my side, and then he takes a sip of his decaf and he thinks about it, and more times than not, he'll normally, even if he doesn't agree with me, he'll understand where I'm coming from, and we find a common ground. Look, he's shaking his head. He's trying.
I'm never heated.
Oh, well,
cool, calm, and collected, baby.
I've pulled how to separate OJ from columnists and locker rooms and all of those things.
Some shit that happens in the locker room is supposed to stay in the locker room, bro.
Well, then don't do it with reporters, right? Like that.
Hey, and that's why they come to the dive bar.
But to Juice's point, like we kind of, for the most part, follow a standard and an expectation that I think credentialed media are held to. And Juice is still credentialed media because you still do pregame. I'm not doing postgame. So I'm not credentialed.
Yeah.
But again, there's an expectation and a standard. And we have other relationships with the organization too, right? I run Jason Taylor's foundation. The organization is very supportive of the work we do. That's an important relationship to us. OJ is forever a Dolphins legend and gets to host events and gets invited to things. And so while there's different people that oversee different departments, our relationship with the Miami Dolphins is an important one to us. And so we respect that. And we love the organization. We love the brand. We love that damn logo on the side of the helmet. And so I'm not saying that you guys are disrespecting. I'm hoping that isn't coming across like that. It just occurred to me, and it hadn't before, especially because this space didn't exist when I was on the PR staff, but it occurred to me that there's really the content is getting out to fans in different ways. And I think fans want to consume all of it, but they're operating on two different racetracks in a lot of ways. And so I was like, God, what would, if the dive bar interviewed a guy that the Miami Dolphins didn't want to, Jonnu Smith, you guys had Jonnu Smith out the gate. And Jonnu Smith talked some shit against the Bills, and it made bulletin board material, and it was all over. And I go, I know the communications staff is dying. Yeah. And I'm like, why can't we get a darn player? Because that won't happen on our side, but we would still have a good time, right? And so it's I'm a little bit of a geek, maybe a lot of bit of a geek when it comes to kind of analyzing these things and seeing it. But I am watching what you guys are doing. I'm watching what Dolphins Talk is doing. I'm watching what, I mean, Travis is obviously now on the other side, but Travis and Locked On and all those guys, I love to see what's happening in the space. But I was like, damn, this is a real thing. And I started calling these other PR guys, and they're like, yeah, this is how we handle it. But our beat guys are mad. But at the same time, you guys don't get to go sit and ask Mike McDaniel questions directly after a game. Right. You guys don't get to, on a Friday, just walk around the locker room and walk up to whoever you want to. And so there's advantages to being on either side of it. And you just got to kind of operate in the space that you're in.
And I do think that we do. And I know that you weren't coming at it from that perspective, but we do have that respect. We don't ask a player during the season. Like, we'll never have a player on during the season. We won't ask. We won't try to go over everyone's head on that. And I mean, to be fair, also a handful of players, not all of them, obviously, but I would say a good third to 2/3 of the player, we're like, hey, did you, because we were curious too, especially in the earlier, like when we had Blake on, like Alec and Tyreek on, we're like, hey, did you clear this with comms? Like, because we were concerned as well. Like, are we doing something wrong? And I'll tell you what, like a handful of guys were like, yeah, we talked to them and they said it was fine. And not every player obviously did that. Yeah. But out
of those three, I know which one definitely didn't clear it with anyone.
Not just
He's operating on his own rules, fellas.
To be fair, people in the building told us that he was not going to show up.
Yeah, we were. Well,
he's earned that reputation.
Well, he showed up 30 minutes late, but he showed up
35 minutes late. But
I guess he thought it was practice.
Yeah. But I mean, even
come on, OJ, let's cook, baby.
you know. That's a damn sure.
That's crazy. But yeah, we try to be super respectful to the organization, and like if someone ever did reach out to us and was like, "Hey, can you lay off these guys for XYZ?" or like we're doing this, and we're like, we would never be like, "Screw you!" No, we're gonna get them anyway. Like we would never do that, But. Yeah. We try to be as respectful as we could. And that is something that did cross our minds. And we did ask the players, like, because we weren't even sure how to operate in the space. We didn't even know we were getting players on until
we didn't even know what we were doing, Ghost.
The week before.
We still really don't.
So the four of us, or the three of us were going to jump on before great producer Eric came in and realized how much better we can become as a podcast. Shout out Eric. It was going to be three of us, and then Blake Ferguson, like Bobby said, we built our followings on Twitter, and Blake's like, I'll be your first guest. And that's kind of like sent the ball rolling down the hill. And so we weren't even planning to do players. Like this was not even remotely what this was supposed to be. And just from there, then, it kind of just snowballed, and we're like, why don't we just keep it? It's like, why didn't we ever think of this? And it was like something that like, we can't do that. You can't do that. And, shout out Blake, man. He kicked that ball down the hill.
Yeah, well, you guys, whatever he did, you guys kept it rolling, and I think you've done a hell of a job.
Roll it back to the punter.
Oh man!
Damn!
It was one time. It was
not fired, OJ McDuffie.
Hey,
you want to call Tyreek out for missing practice, but you got
man,
that's pretty funny.
I did call Tyreek out.
Yeah,
fair enough. So, look, I think that ultimately, I know that the reason we were brought on board with the Dolphins for the 4 or 5 years that we were there by an amazing man in Jason Jenkins was that he felt that fans, we need to engage our fan base, and fans want to be met where they're at, and that the way that fans consume content now is different than the way they consumed it when I worked for the team. And certainly, historically, it's just different now. And it is, you can jump on YouTube and live and see 3 guys that are lifelong Dolphins fans talking to future Hall of Fame wide receiver, and that is just a different animal than anything we've ever seen before. And it takes some adjusting. I think different teams are adjusting to it in different ways. But ultimately, if your fans are being engaged and they're passionate about the Miami Dolphins and they want to buy more gear and they want to rock the dive bar hats in dive bar colors with that little fish swimming on there, like all of that is good shit. That's good for the team. Even in an 0-3 season, your friggin' chat is flooded with people that want to talk about the Miami Dolphins. And maybe we're saying stuff that makes them uncomfortable. And sometimes people are calling for people's heads, something Juice and I never do. But you care about the Dolphins. And that means that you're going to show up even when the team has one of the most embarrassing losses in the history of the franchise. And you're going to stand in line and buy friggin' rivalries jerseys because it's dope and you want to wear it and you just love the fucking team. So like all of that stuff is really cool. And I think that's what you guys are doing. That's what fan creators are doing. And that's what the professional, quote unquote, credentialed media are doing also with these podcasts. And there's a space for all of it. And I just think it's really cool. Like I said, I geek out on this stuff.
Yeah. I think another thing we need to say is thank you to the Miami Dolphins comm team because, they greenlight this stuff. So like if a player comes to them and says, hey, I want to go on the dive bar, they have to greenlight it. So, I mean, shout out to them for giving the avenue and allowing the opportunity too. So we appreciate that. Also, I did want to add on a little bit, like, one thing is we didn't tell Jonnu to do what he did. So that's another thing. Like we never planned to wake up and Adam Schefter be tweeting about the dive bar. So
yeah,
he's a grown ass man. That's a veteran. He knows better.
Like that's another thing. We're not out here like we're gonna get clickbaits that no one else can get. We're not. We actually talk about it. We're very conscious of it. We don't want to be disrespectful to the team. We don't want to come off as like we don't care or whatever. Also, another thing I will say. We actually do have a lot of golden rules within us anyways. We'll reach out to a lot of people in the off season. We're pretty much reaching out to anybody and everybody. But I'll say this, if I'm talking to a guy, even if he's already told me he'll come on the podcast, like OJ is an active player. He's going to come on the podcast next week. If OJ gets injured this weekend, I am not circling back next week to ask OJ if he's still got an hour. And that's my thing. That's my principle. If a guy gets hurt or a guy's dealing with something, he's on the PUP list, I'm not going to be adding shit to your plate. I'm not going to, that's like, to me, that's just like kind of sour grapes. Yeah. You don't really go, they're still humans. I feel like that's kind of where it gets a little weird. And I've seen players that we were talking to and I was like, I don't know, man, it's kind of a weird spot. He's kind of hurt now. And then I'd see him on another podcast and I was like, okay, some people don't have the same rules, I guess. All right, go ahead. Who cares? As long as you get your clicks, I guess.
Yeah. Once you're committed to it though, man, like, you commit to an appearance, no matter what it is, man. Like even somebody's banged up right now, they can put their foot up. They got a swollen ankle, put their foot up, turn the mic on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially an interview. Yeah.
Have a decaf. You know what I mean? And enjoy a great interview, man.
I don't disagree with you. It's just, to me, it's like you're sitting there. Maybe your career's on the line. Maybe you're going to miss the whole season right now. And here comes that guy from the dive bar, like, hey man, can we still get you on? I just don't want, I just think about it like that. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I feel you, man. You guys,
I'll be that guy. I'll be that guy.
You already got that guy. You got that guy in the crew. Yeah,
he is relentless.
That's the thing about it though, too, man. The way you guys handle the guys is the reason you get guys. That's always important, man. You guys do, like, you have a lot of fun with it. You're not trying to, like Seth said earlier. I'm not gonna say that again. Seth didn't say it earlier, but you're not trying to sit somebody down with a gotcha moment.
I want a clip of just how many times that was said.
Get on there and have some fun with us, chop it up with us, enjoy our live chat. You know what I mean? And that's really cool, man. You guys got something amazing going on, man. Yeah, we are honored. We are honored to be on here with you guys, bro. And it really
hey, clip that, Bobby.
Clip.
Hey, OJ, if I told my 6-year-old self, I'm sitting down in my parents' basement, 6 years old. I'm playing my Sega Genesis, and I'm playing NFL Blitz, and I hear McDuffie. And I would go around the house screaming McDuffie. And my dad's like, shut the fuck up. What are you screaming? I'm like, McDuffie, 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 McDuffie. And if I told my 6-year-old self, hey, you're going to be sitting on a podcast with him, decades later. And it just, he didn't even know what a podcast was then, but still, like, making the point is we're honored to have you guys on. It's like you guys have we talked about trailblazing before. You guys have really trailblazed this entire scene, like merging that professional piece of like professional media and then the fan piece. Like they are, like you said, they're two different racetracks, two different sides is where, there's stuff for, the professional media piece, but there's a huge market and people want to see that fan piece and see the human side of players and their stories and their background. Talk about fishing poles with Hayden Rucci, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a cool space that, I'm glad, I'm super happy to be part of it. And I'm really honored to have you guys on.
Yeah. We're going to do it again before the season's over, right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe. My bad, dog.
No, you're good. I was gonna say I'll probably never freestyle to Tyreek again though, because that was nerve-wracking.
You nailed it though. That was really good.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Good Lord.
I want to circle back to the very beginning too. Something that Seth said that's actually very critical. Seth gets another one. Around the horn, Seth has 7 points.
Right.
But the biggest thing I heard from what you said and that we haven't talked about at all, the biggest part of this whole realm now is when you first started, you said podcast. People actually do that?
Yeah.
Man, I wish we still had that problem.
Yeah. No doubt.
Good point.
There's a lot, right? It's a crowded space. It's a crowded space. But I think it's great. I think it's great that, again, that the fan base is this passionate despite the lack of success. I think it's great that different people are bringing something different to the table. What you guys brought was fresh. I think you see some other shows that are bringing things out there. There's the shows that are hardcore X's and O's. There's the shows that are like, we stayed completely away from X's and O's until we started doing post-game collectively. And then that's when we started to merge, talking about the current team and just telling stories. And there's everything in between. And I love it, man. I think there's room for everybody. And then I love doing stuff like this, these crosstalks. Every time Juice and I get invited to go on one of these shows, it's fun because we're maybe talking to people that there's people in the chat that I recognize that'll be with us tomorrow night on our live show. And there's people that I've never seen before. And, we hope we do see them on Wednesday. So I just think there's room for everybody. And I do find it a little crazy when there's kind of that friendly fire and Dolphins fans are going at each other or you get that crabs in a barrel mentality. I think that's silly, man. And I'm not just trying to be kumbaya, but it's like, let everybody have their voice. Let everybody have their perspective. And, there's room for everybody out here.
Yeah, for sure. Just don't come on my time slot on Tuesdays. Get the hell off. Hey, get the hell off my lawn.
You know what? I have to ask, Seth, do you have any insight talking about, obviously episode 1 of Under the Sun came out week 1. Okay. It's going to be every Tuesday at 7:00. Do you have any insight like where that show went or if it's maybe like a quarterly thing or half the season? So
a little bit of insight. And in my understanding was the plan was to kind of maybe be monthly, throughout the season. So you can't, there's no way they could have made that like a weekly show, like Hard Knocks was during a football season with the staff that they have. And they've got a talented group. But if you saw the staff that if you were around the building when Hard Knocks was there and the volume of people that they had to pull that off and to do it in real time, it was a massive crew. And as talented as the crew is in the Dolphins video team, it's just a handful of people that are there trying to make it happen. So, and I also don't think that I believe the organization wanted to tell these stories because clearly there's interest. I mean, they got 100-something thousand views in the first episode there.
Super well.
No, that's credible.
Very well done, right? Like it was very well done.
Yeah.
And from a production standpoint, I was so impressed with those guys. I texted Mike Milius, who's one of the lead producers with the team, who's incredibly talented. And I was like, dude, you guys absolutely killed that. But I don't think the plan, like everyone's like, oh, what happened to that show? Now, I don't know what will happen because the last
Yeah.
month has been rough. I imagine that people aren't going to be as receptive to doing things, and organizationally they're going to have to make a
Part of
decision.
it. That's part of it, Big Seth. That's
It is part of it, and that would be
adversity is
compelling.
opportunity, Seth.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and it would be compelling. But what you also have to understand
Yeah.
is like, and we all hurt as fans, right? But when you have worked in that building, you understand, or well, we didn't work in that building, but when you have worked in an NFL building, that's people's livelihoods, man. People might not, people know that like they're smart enough to know that, man, if we don't get this picked up, this could all end for us. I don't know when the next job will be. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so 7 days in the NFL between losses is like death. I worked in the NBA for one season. I did an internship with the Cleveland Cavaliers before I got hired by the Dolphins in '96.
Mhm.
And we lost our first 7 games to open up the season. And I thought that was bad. And then we lost 1 game with the Miami Dolphins. And I was like, what? This is worse than what 7 games in the NBA was like. And so, yeah, man, it is, it's not easy for them to go through that. And as much as we hurt, they hurt too. And so I can understand if they don't want to go ahead and push out another one of those. But I do believe that there was not an expectation that it was going to be a weekly show. I hope we get another one. I'm with you that there could be some compelling content, but that's the best I got.
Yeah, because as fans, we were watching it, and there was no kind of like, hey, like check back in next week.
Yeah, next week,
month.
next month.
And we're all kind of like, oh, well, we're so used to Hard Knocks, obviously, and it was kind of like Hard Knocks-esque, like a little different, but super well produced. Like, I mean, it was amazing, and we were just kind of wondering, are we getting another one, or is this
Right.
is it because the season's going bad, or yeah? So we were. I think that a lot of people were asking that question.
What if they got canceled, Big Seth? Did they get canceled?
They were smart enough not to leave that out there, right? So now
That's
they're
true.
not
That's
beholden to
true.
any schedule.
Yeah.
And maybe if things get picked up, so instead of in a month, maybe, and I don't even know that the month was the plan. I don't have any insight on that.
Yeah.
No one's shared that with me, but my understanding was it was going to be something that would be roughly 1 for each month of the season.
Cool.
So I hope there's another one.
Yeah,
It's
same,
also funny how
100%.
like shit that's awesome is awesome when you're winning, and it could be cool as hell, but when you're losing, it's like I don't care. Don't put that shit out. It's kind of like McDaniel press conferences. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No comment, Bobby. No comment.
Tough crowd.
I think since we love segues on the show, I think that's a perfect segue into, because we got to talk about Monday night. We're coming up on
Come on,
over the
boys.
hour here. We got to get some Monday night predictions before we get off. Jets have a couple big losses injury wise. Sauce is a little on the mend. I know Quincy Williams, he's going to be out, so that's huge for the run game. Jermaine Johnson may be out for the game as well, which is, I mean, that's very significant losses, especially for a team that already couldn't stop a nosebleed, which we're very familiar with right now. We got to get into that. I don't know where we should start there. I don't know if we start right at predictions, but just thoughts on the game.
I'd like to talk about Waller first. What do y'all boys think Waller's going to look like Monday night? He looked good. There's a little clip of him in practice today. He looked all right.
Look pretty spry.
Juice, you taking it or am I?
Yeah, OJ's got this one. I can
Josie,
see the
OG's got some juice on this one.
Well, we already had this conversation. We had this conversation earlier today. It was already a mess from the beginning with Waller in terms of him coming out of retirement, obviously, and all the other stuff. We've been expecting him to play since week 1, and now that it hasn't happened, if you're not healthy now, with not playing the first 3 games, having 10 days from the last game, with a Monday night game coming up, I have major concerns, man. Major concerns about whether even if he's still borderline healthy, he's not going to be healthy all season unless, because there's nobody, they don't let guys get to be 100% healthy.
Yeah.
So I know, making that move, we talked a lot about Jonnu earlier, but making this move with Waller, he's got to play Monday. He's got to at least give it a shot. If he doesn't give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, then we just got to move on, man. But he's got to give it a shot because we're already, a fifth of the way through the season. It's time we've got to get moving here. It's time to get moving here.
Yeah, I'm laughing, Juice. Savak just texted me. He's watching. Our producer, Savak, is like, oh, this segment was made for me because I tried to tell y'all he didn't believe in the Waller signing. Yeah, I had concerns from the moment they signed him because, fellas, this is not an easy game to play.
Yeah.
When you're not all in, right? And I didn't play it at all because I had no shot being a football player. But I worked in an NFL locker room for a long time and worked around some pretty good football players. It is a hard game to play when you are all in. So imagine when you're not, when you elect to retire. This isn't someone who was forced into retirement because a team cut him and he didn't get a call back. He's someone who decided he didn't want to play football anymore. And then he hasn't played in over a year. And so, like, I had concerns about that to begin with. I thought, best case scenario, I'll be pleasantly surprised, which would be great. I mean, we all want him to be successful. But then when he wasn't practicing, and then they were preserving him, and then they were going to hold him out of his first practice, and then his second practice, they were going to hold him out, and then he gets hurt in the practice that they hold him out of. So, you know, trying to not get him hurt. That's when it was just one of those. So my expectations have just, the bar is low. He is clearly fiercely athletic. He likes Frank Smith a whole lot. It's part of the reason he came out of retirement. I wanted to play for him. You know, Tua last year talked a lot about not having any chemistry with Odell Beckham Jr. because he didn't get a chance to throw the ball with him. I don't know how much he's been able to throw the ball around the yard with Waller. So I don't, and we don't, you know, how often are they going to throw the ball to tight end? I don't know. So my expectations are low, but, you know, I hope to be pleasantly surprised.
Fair enough.
There's only one way to find out.
Well, yeah, he's got to get out there and play.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, the time for putting people on ice is over, boys. We're 0-3.
Well, I
It's
don't
all
believe
right.
in the putting people on ice thing in the National Football League. I don't Juice and I talk about that a lot. And my co-host is a guy who played through things he shouldn't have played through because it meant that much to him to be out on the field and to compete, and certainly to support his teammates and to represent that logo and to do that for his fans and everybody else. But he's a guy who just loved to compete, and you couldn't keep him off the field even when he should have been kept off the field, right? And so this idea that, like, we're going to hold guys out of training camp so that they're ready for the regular season, they're ready for late in the season, and then they're friggin' hurt 3 plays into the, you know, like, I just, it's just not the football that I worked around. And maybe I'm, you know, maybe the guys I worked around, you know, going back to the OJ story, we're not looking out for players in their best interests. And I think Mike McDaniel does care about his players and he does care about their health. But at some point, man, you got to win football games, your best players need to be playing football.
Joe's going to love this one, but anybody opposed to this?
I've asked, and I think it's a good idea. Hear me out. If Cristobal could just lend us the O-line for just a couple games real quick while we get healthy.
Tell him, Juice.
They get their asses tore up.
Hey, I tell these
in my
boys.
mind, in like my little video game mind, it feels great.
Yeah, I get it. I crack up all the time when they think the worst team in the NFL can beat the number 1 team in college football.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, they're
For
wiping
sure.
them. Of course, it's a joke. They are wiping.
I
them.
know.
Yeah.
I know. I get it, man. But I hear that all the time, man. Like, the Canes can beat the Dolphins. No.
Zero
Look,
chance.
everybody on the Canes, they're not going pro. Not the whole team's not going pro.
Right.
Everybody on the Dolphins are pros. I'm tell you that. You go against a DB that went to Murray State, and you think, oh, this dude went to Murray State. Chew your ass up, man. That dude put his hands on you. You know what I mean? You didn't get to the pros by accident, bro. That's what I'm saying. But
I mean, I guess
man.
that leads us into the prediction time, boys.
Seth doesn't
I
do
guess,
predictions,
listen,
right?
Seth is always right, so I guess we should roll with
But
him
I don't
first.
make predictions. I guess that's how I stay always right. I do not make predictions. I think we're going to see, I hope it's more hope. I think we're going to see more of what we saw against the Patriots and Bills than what we saw against the Colts. I do think the team is playing better football. And I sure hope we get the best version of them. I have to be transparent. I hate the Jets. I've always hated that franchise. And then one of my best friends and my employer ended up spending the season with them, right? And that was a conflicted, difficult season for me. And then now I've got his son, who I've known literally since he took his first breath, and who interned with me all off season leading up to the draft. A kid who is just a special human being, and now he's going to be out there as well. And so I really am excited to watch this game. I hope that Mason has a great game, but he goes home sad because they're 0-4. That's what I'm hoping for. And I just, man, our fan base, our team, I think the head coach, the GM, all these people that have just been dying through the first 3 weeks of this season. I hope that this is the day that things start heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's the best I got.
Mason's a great kid.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I was
he
so
didn't
sad.
deserve
I was
that.
so sad when he went to the Jets, man. I was like,
He didn't deserve it.
All
I'm
the
still
places,
gonna root
right?
for him.
Of all the places. Yeah.
So I'll tell you a story. I was at, and I hope I'm not messing up your format here.
No.
They had the draft party, and which was very cool for me because I had never been on that side of it. Right. I loved the draft as a kid growing up. I cheered when we drafted OJ McDuffie. I was like, you ghosts running around McDuffie. And
There we go.
I made a draft board in college, pre-internet, where the sports information department would call me and ask me who was getting drafted in what round. And I had the board all in the back of my dorm room door and all that stuff. And so then working the draft on the PR side was amazing. I had never been on the side of the player at a draft party. And so that was a really special experience to be there and to watch Mason live out his dream in that moment. But the Bills drafted right before the Jets, and so I'm watching the ticker and I'm seeing it go down. I'm like, neither of these are good options. And then most of the people there didn't necessarily understand how it works with TV and what have you. And so the Bills are on the clock and Mason's on the phone. So everyone's thinking it's the Bills. And I'm like, it's the fucking Jets, because I could see that they were next and I just knew it. And he hung up the phone and he's like, Jets. And everybody was so excited for him because once your name gets called, the anticipation, everything building up to it. But I was like, how is this happening again? How is it happening again?
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. If Guam had a football team and they drafted me, I'd be playing for them. I would, get drafted is an amazing feat, to be in the NFL, bro. So
Absolutely.
I get it. I don't like it, but I get it.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm not the only, somebody's going to make a prediction, not just me, right?
I got the Dolphins winning, man. I got the Dolphins winning, man. I think that the amount of time off helps a lot.
Yeah.
I know Austin Jackson's out. He's going to be out for a little while now. That right side wasn't the greatest. I know that we got some Savaianias. He's struggling a little bit. We got time to make some game plans to help some of that. I think the time off, the time to reflect, playing against the Jets Monday night, never easy. Us on prime time has never been very good for us. But I got us squeaking out a dub. I won't do scores, but I got the Dolphins winning Monday night.
Yeah.
Don't forget the rivalry uniforms.
That gives you at least another 7 points.
Yeah, I've got my H-hand. I should have rocked my H-hand tonight. Where's my H-hand jersey at?
But are the Jets wearing? That's how it works, right? They're wearing their rivalry uniform as well.
No, they got to wear it for their home game.
Yeah, you get it on
it'll
home.
be at a home game. Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I did see it. I did see a tweet today, and crazier things have been true. When we played the Colts, they were wearing blue jerseys. When we were playing the Patriots, they were wearing blue jerseys. When we were playing the Bills, they're wearing blue jerseys. And Tua threw an interception in all three of those games.
Oh,
and we're playing blue jersey. We're going to be wearing some blue jerseys.
So he's going to be throwing to the right
Monday night. So he's going to be throwing it to the right guy.
That doesn't mean they'll catch it though.
So, but in reality, I think you nailed it. I mean, it's a long week. I hate using this term, but it's like there's no excuse. The Jets, they're losing some big defensive players, and I'm not sure if the defense is locked down. We've played better in each game the last 2 weeks. I do think it's going to be a little high scoring. I think it's going to be in that like 33-27 territory, 34-27 territory. But yeah, I mean, the Dolphins got to go on a run here. If they have any plans for postseason, these next 8 games, 6 of the teams are 6-12. Checked it before I came on here, and that's excluding the Chargers and the Bills, who are obviously undefeated. But you could come out of this whole thing, even if you lose to the Bills and Chargers, you come out of this 6-5. So they got to make some moves, and it's got to start Monday night.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Dolphins. You got to win, right? You got to. I mean, the Jets got everything going against them. It's the Jets, which we're the Dolphins. I know that's not that big of a compliment, but
yeah,
I think also, I mean, we played our best ball of the year. I mean, I know the ending kind of made it seem like a sour, bad game, but we really did probably play one of our best games to date. Mike McDaniel was really good. And yeah, we just can't lose to the Jets at home, Monday Night Football. Let's see some of those fireworks return. Let's get some plays on the offense, rivalry uniforms. Let's play ball. Let's play ball. Let's get after the quarterback, whoever that's going to be. Is it going to be Tyrod still, or is it Justin Fields?
I think it's going to be Tyrod Taylor. I don't think Justin
Tyrod,
Fields
I
coming back.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn, did he clarify yet?
I don't know.
I don't know, but one of the most electric parts of Sunday was Aaron Glenn on the sideline after that. I love that was awesome. Somebody put the Earth, Wind, and Fire music behind that, and that thing just went off, bro.
It didn't age well though for him, did it?
Which was even better.
So we got inside info from producer Eric, always working in the background. Fields asked to pass his protocol by Wednesday, and he is not clear yet. So we'll see.
All right, listen, boys, I got to keep it a buck here. Something I do very often. I'm very, very honest, very straightforward, straight shooter guy. We're gonna mop the Jets.
There we go.
I think this is our coming out party. I think we've been teasing that win last couple of weeks. This week we really get both sides of the. Actually, all three phases come together, and we put a complete game together because that's all we've been missing. All three sides clicking at the same time. And I do think we have a 2-score lead. I'm not going to put a number on it either. I'm done putting numbers on it because I always look like a fool. But I do feel like we roll this week, gain some momentum, and we go on a little bit of a winning streak here going into the Chargers game.
Nice.
Sounds
Guys, can't thank y'all enough for joining us. I do want to give y'all a chance to plug whatever y'all got going on. Tell everybody where they can find you. Here's that picture from earlier. There's another one too where you actually see the mic in the headset. But yeah, go ahead, plug y'all stuff, guys. We can't thank you enough for spending some time with us tonight.
I appreciate you having us, man. It's, at the Fish Tank 81 on all socials. And then obviously everybody's already following OJ on his socials at OJ McDuffie or at OJ McDuffie 81, depending on what platform. And tomorrow night on our YouTube channel, it's the Fish Tank podcast. We have our live on, actually Kim Bocamper did confirm, Juice. So Bo will be with us on our live along with Chad Van Horn and producer Savak. So we'll have a good time. There it is.
Yeah,
that mic to work anymore.
What the heck?
Classic.
Too good.
We gotta pick our game up, boys.
Yeah, you guys are doing great. So now we hope to see everybody on Wednesday. Hope everybody keeps supporting the show. And you guys just keep doing what you're doing, man, because it's great stuff.
Yeah,
we appreciate
y'all go over.
it.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Y'all go over, show them some love. Tune in. They do live shows just like this every Wednesday night, right?
Yep.
That's the new thing y'all are doing. And then they got some heavy hitters coming soon too. Some pre-recorded stuff, right?
Always. Yeah. Always.
So exactly like we said earlier, they're basically us, but more wise.
We're just older, man. We're just older.
Way more charming. All right, fellas. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, Chad, as always. See y'all on the next one.
All right, guys, man. Have a good one, fellas.